There's always a ridiculous amount of fuss when local governments waste millions of taxpayer dollars on a shiny new zero-emissions fire truck. How it's going to help save the planet and reduce all those nasty tailpipe emissions. The trouble is that when you dig down into the details, you find that these so-called green and clean fire trucks are hiding a dirty little secret. A diesel engine. Yep. You heard that right. These wonderful electric fire trucks that are so good for the environment can't actually do the job they're intended for without some assistance from fossil fuels. Of course, a fully electric fire truck is an utterly idiotic idea. Can you imagine getting to the scene of a fire only to find that the battery wasn't full enough to operate the water pumps? What do you do then? Wait for a few hours while you plug it in to charge up? So the manufacturers quietly have to include a backup system to cope with the all too obvious shortcomings of the battery electric system. And as usual, when environmental posturing comes up against harsh reality, fossil fuels are there to save the day and save lives. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and there's a code on screen. Scan that with your phone if you want to sign up for a weekly MGUY email. Be great to have you on board. I don't know about you, but I'm thoroughly sick to death of the environmental hypocrisy we're seeing at the moment. We're wasting a fortune of long-suffering taxpayers' money on pointless virtue-signalling net zero technology, such as wildly expensive electric fire trucks that cost double or more that of a regular fire truck, and which can't even carry out the basic functions of a fire truck. At some point in the future, electric fire trucks might make sense when the technology catches up. But right now we seem happy to say, oh, this truck can't do what we need it to do, but at least we can tick the net zero box, right? So these overpriced monstrosities are wheeled out in a blaze, excuse the pun, of self-congratulatory glory by governments desperate to demonstrate the right environmental credentials. Bernalillo County Fire and Rescue to acquire first electric fire truck in the state. Bernalillo County Fire and Rescue, BCFR, received funding from the New Mexico Environment Department, NMED, to get its first electric fire truck. NMED awarded BCFR $417,718 in grant funding to partially reimburse $1,829,973 in project costs to replace a 1991 engine model year diesel-fueled Class 8 Pierce fire engine with a Pierce Volterra battery electric fire engine that does not produce any tailpipe emissions. We'll see about that. We look forward to bringing one of the first all-electric fire engines into our department as well as our state. Our main goal is to purchase an engine that allows us to perform as efficiently and safely as we do today, yeah right, while also being mindful of our role in protecting our environment, said Deputy County Manager and Fire Chief Greg Perez in a news release. The electric truck will also be the first of its kind in the state. We're going to learn from it, and just hopefully other departments can, learn from what we learned from this and maybe get their own fully electric fire truck as well, said BCFR spokesperson William Harris. But as we'll see, this is all smoke, excuse the pun, and mirrors, because most of these fire engines need a diesel backup for safety reasons. The manufacturers are well aware of how useless battery electric drivetrains are in safety-critical situations, and so to avoid the inevitable class action when people die in a fire because the battery is flat, they stick in a diesel engine anyway. About those all-electric zero-emissions fire trucks, they have diesel engines. When Albuquerque announced plans to acquire a new fire engine, New Mexico's governor lauded the zero-emissions technology, while a fire department spokesman called it all-electric, and KRQE 13 gushed about the fully electric fire truck. San Diego's NBC7 reported on what it called that city's first all-electric fire apparatus. When the electric fire engine debuted in Portland, NBC's KGW8 quoted a fire department spokesman lauding the monumental zero-emissions vehicle. When an electric fire truck came to Gilbert, Arizona, Fox 10 quoted the fire chief saying that, "There's no cancer coming out of the tailpipe, and I say it that way because diesel particulates are a contributor for cancers." Viewers could be forgiven for thinking that the new fire trucks were all electric and zero emissions. They'd be wrong. All the fire trucks also have a diesel engine and a tailpipe that releases those cancer-causing particulates. When the first Pierce Volterra electric fire truck rolled out in Madison, Wisconsin, the vehicle was repeatedly called all-electric or zero emissions. You had to listen 8 minutes into the presentation to get to the part where a fire chief admits there's an internal combustion engine for pumping water on a fire. Perhaps journalists and fire department spokespeople were misled by Pierce Manufacturing's website, which reads in bold headline type, "Zero emissions, zero compromises." If you look on the Pierce Volterra website, you can see that there are 2 types of electric fire truck, both of which have a combustion engine. The types of electric fire trucks fall into 2 main categories listed below. Parallel electric drivetrain fire apparatus operate independently in either all-electric or internal combustion engine modes. The benefit of choosing a parallel electric drivetrain fire truck with an internal combustion engine, ICE, is that the chassis operates under electric power in all normal operational situations and leverages the internal combustion engine only for backup power in extended emergency operations. When the fire truck is under these extended conditions, it operates with the engine coupled directly to the driveline with reduced complexity and added resiliency. Range-extended electric vehicles run on battery power and utilize a generator or engine as backup power. Once the battery's state of charge drops below a specified threshold, the generator or engine engages and the battery continues to power all operations while the ICE powers the batteries. Unlike the parallel electric drivetrain fire truck, which bypasses the batteries completely, a range-extended vehicle continues to use the battery at all times. I guess the argument is that it's not using diesel for some of the time and hence emissions are reduced. That's probably true to some extent, except that the electricity to charge the damn thing is probably generated by coal anyway. And the additional costs of infrastructure required for charging probably outweighs any savings on fuel. This kind of example just reveals the hypocrisy at the heart of the insane push for electrification and net zero. Everyone knows that electric drivetrains cannot power trucks, ambulances, fire engines, or pretty much any major commercial application. But instead of just sticking with what works, everyone is forced to play this ridiculous game of pretending to go electric, but always safe in the knowledge that in the background, when the going gets tough, fossil fuels will be there to bail you out. The whole thing is quite frankly sickening.